We thought we had everything under control for our move to Spain. Spoiler alert, we did not.
From packing chaos to customs nightmares, these are the moving mistakes we made that cost us our time, our money, our energy, and our sanity. And we're going to share ways that you can plan better than we did.
Mistake number 1, underestimating packing time. We really blew this. We had everything on a grid with timed out how many days for each room, etc. But we were way off.
The last 48 hours were utter and complete hell.
Yeah. Like, what we didn't take into account is that you look at a room and you think, oh, I can pack this much and this and this. And in your mind, you're like, you're hauling and you got it all organized. Then you open up a drawer and it's like a nightmare filled with stuff, especially bathrooms for some reason. We had so many things in our drawers that we had to go through. You don't want to do that in the last 48 hours because it's very stressful and you may throw away something that you don't want to throw away.
Right.
So more time.
And we had already gone through every room, by the way. We had gotten rid of things. We really thought we were in great shape and that last pass was going to be very quick. It was not. And the biggest lesson is if we had set a done packing date 1 week earlier instead of day of, our lives would have looked completely different.
I don't know if we would have adhered to it, but it sure would have been great if we had been consciously understanding how much bigger this job was than it ended up being.
Yeah. Mistake number 2, not leaving enough time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
We allowed time to say goodbye to our friends. We said goodbye to our family. We didn't allow time to say goodbye to our house of 23 years.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah, you think it's just a house, but there's memories connected to everything in there, and they come up as you start packing. And you really need to give yourself that moment to breathe through that and let it happen. And it's really great, actually, because it gives you a chance to re-experience the things about your house that you loved. But you do need the time to do that. You don't want to rush through that.
No. And if we had allowed, at least those last couple of days to have been completely packed up and just honor the house, maybe had some sort of ceremonies, some sort of, kind of official goodbye, it would have felt a lot different. Instead,
it felt like we wish we had a flamethrower just to get rid of everything.
Totally. It was awful. We were dragging ourselves out at midnight the day we were planning to leave, and that was horrific.
No, every one of our friends who's moved said last 2 days, literally the worst of your life, and they were not lying.
Yeah.
So definitely don't do that. Schedule a full day or two for reflection, for closure and goodbye, not just tasks.
Even if you think you're not emotional and you think you're like that, you're not connected to everything, you are. You're just not thinking about it, and it will come up. Mistake number 3, no final week plan. We had a plan for the weeks leading up to the final week, but we didn't plan the final week. And that's when everything just snowballed and it really caught us off guard.
Yeah. So honestly, break the last 7 to 10 days into very clear tasks, create buffer days so it's not 24-hour days or 12 or 15-hour days like they were for us.
Yeah.
And really just allow more space. Mistake number 4, and this is a huge one, get help. Don't try to do too much yourself. I was firmly convinced that I had to do everything myself, that I was the only one that would know what we would take, what we would leave, what we should pack. And so I just decided that we should just do it ourselves. And we hired help at the last minute, not enough. We had friends offering to help and we declined because we just didn't think that we needed it. And we were desperately wrong.
Yeah. And it gives you more chance to hang out with your friends for the last week,
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Mistake number 5, shipping fail. Wow. We really did not follow instructions. We hired a company to help us ship extra bags, 5 bags ahead of us that we thought were going to already be here when we got here. We did so much of that wrong. We didn't really read the instructions. There's a lot of things you have to do in order to pass customs. If we had done that the right way, the bags would have gotten here on time and not 3 weeks late.
If we had done that kind of 1 week buffer, we would have been completely packed. I would have read the instructions and created a detailed inventory of everything in the bags. and known what I couldn't bring instead of finding out after the fact. And we would have been in much, much better shape. Instead, we were still throwing things in bags at 11 o'clock at night, the night we were leaving. We dragged our bags to our neighbor's house, and they ended up having to do an inventory of our 5 giant suitcases because we hadn't done it. So if we had done that in advance, we would have definitely been in much better shape. And really the result of that was there were delays almost every step of the way, and it wasn't the shipping company's fault, it was our fault. And we had to pay extra taxes because I was very conservative in valuing our belongings because it was like our clothes, our used
Everything we own only was worth $150, right?
It was all our used, but it was just a bunch of used stuff. I mean, it wasn't like spatulas. A lot of our stuff came through, and actually they did a very good job. And honestly, I would recommend this company. They did a tremendous job communicating every step of the way. So
We just didn't listen.
we just exactly. Mistake number 6, poor carry-on baggage planning. We thought we were going to have our bags either waiting for us or following shortly thereafter. And in fact, as we just told you, that wasn't true.
Yeah.
And we didn't pack. We packed our entire suitcase full of supplements and spices and liquids.
You
and
cannot
creams.
send supplements through these companies.
Right.
By the way.
And didn't worry about clothes because we assumed our clothes were going to come. How naive.
So expect the unexpected. Like, we had no idea this could possibly take as long as it did, but we did. The way we ended up packing our carry-ons was almost the way you do it when you go on vacation and you know that you're going to get to the hotel before your bags, you have a room checked. So you put your bathing suit, and a shirt.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what we did, and it was nowhere near enough.
We had 3 outfits. We each had 3 outfits each to wear for the last 3 weeks.
Luckily, we have a washer dryer here, so those 3 outfits kept looking fresh every 3 days.
Here's what we do differently. We would pack like we were not going to see our bags for 2 to 3 weeks. So we had enough outfits, enough change of clothes.
How many? Let's give some specifics. So, like maybe 5 days of clothes and outfits and things that you need? Something like that?
Yeah. And bring clothes that can work for different climate because we didn't expect it to be cold and rainy, and it was.
Yeah.
We were not prepared.
The weather report wasn't accurate,
No,
so we
it
were
wasn't.
caught off guard. And that's okay, but I mean, for guys, it's much easier. I can wear like basically the same kind of clothes every day. It doesn't really matter, but you want to look good. I don't care if I look good. I just have a jacket that's going to be warm, and then I wear a couple different shirts and shoes and whatever. So
I know.
that was mean. Mistake number 7, not budgeting for emotional or physical recuperation before you actually fly. Right up to the 11th hour, we were packing, and it was a freak out at midnight, and we had to get up at 6 in the morning and grab our bags, go to the airport. It was so frenetic. And what we really wanted to do was have a day where we could have just a calm walk around the house, look at everything, make sure we got what we needed, and then go towards the airport. We were staying in LA that night, and just have dinner with somebody and relax. But we didn't do that. And therefore, we were in a whirlwind until we actually landed, and that was brutal.
I think we underestimated how difficult the move was going to be. And if we had budgeted that time to rest and relax and take care of ourselves before we flew, we would have arrived feeling much better.
Yep.
So mistake number 8 was no gentle landing plan. We really jumped right into it and had all kinds of mishaps on day 1. And I think it took us a lot longer to recover than when it probably should have.
I think anywhere you go, especially when you're changing time zones with 9-hour time zone change and changing countries, you really need to just be kind to yourself because you're going to be bleary and do things like my stupid car going down the wrong way in a parking lot. I mean, things like that happen when you're tired. So you do need to give yourself a break.
What we would do differently is we would plan nothing for 2 to 3 days. Like I wouldn't have bothered to go pick up that rental car. It didn't matter. We can get things delivered. We would have survived.
Good point.
Yeah, and also just build in flexibility in your plans because you're going to be tired. You're just going to be tired.
Conclusion. Moving abroad is not easy. I guess that's something you probably already know. More time, more planning, and expect the unexpected.
Some key takeaways: more time, more planning, and really seriously, more help.
Let me ask you this. What was your biggest moving mistake? And if you're moving abroad, what's your biggest concern about that? We'd love to know that.
If this video is helpful, please like and subscribe.
And check out our last video that we posted, which is about our first week in Marbella.
Ciao.
Ciao.